Next receptor family is a tyrosine kinase linked receptors or enzymatic receptors or ligand operated enzyme receptors. These enzymatic receptors are membrane bound receptors, and they are quite different in structure and function from other major receptor families like ionoreceptor families and G protein coupled receptor families. It is because they comprise of very large extracellular domain and themselves act as enzymatic proteins. Uh, so they are basically involved in events which control the cell growth inside our body, cell differentiation in the body, and they also act by regulating gene transcriptions, epidermal growth factor, platelet derived growth factor, insulin transforming growth factor beta. They all act through enzymatic receptors. Molecular structure of enzymatic receptors. All enzymatic receptors have common pattern of structural organization. They are basically membrane bound receptors. They have very large extracellular and very large intracellular domains. And these domains basically constitute of 400 to 700 residues in each. The extra cellular ligand binding domain is connected to the intracellular domain through a relatively short single transmembrane stretch of peptide chain, like it is seen in this diagram. In most cases, the intracellular domain is made up of protein kinases, particularly tyrosine kinases. Protein kinases like tyrosine kinases are incorporated in the intracellular domains of the receptor. And they act by phosphorylating the target proteins, and in some cases the intracellular domain is guanylate cyclase, which synthesizes the secondary messenger CGMP. Let us start with the signaling mechanism of enzyme receptors. So basically there is involvement of protein kinases here. See the A part of this figure. Whenever a specific ligand binds to an extracellular ligand binding domain, the intracellular protein kinases gets activated and phosphorylates target proteins. Now, these target proteins may be enzymes. These may be protein kinases. These are different type of kinases. They may be regulatory proteins or some structural proteins. So, phosphorylation of target proteins may either alter their individual activities or influence their interaction with other regulatory proteins or effectors. So most receptors that are tyrosine kinase phosphorylate specific tyrosine kinase residues on their specific proteins. Few receptors with other protein kinases phosphorylate serine or threonine residues. So the receptor itself gets phosphorylated. Please see the part B, that ligand binds with the receptor, it gets activated, and then receptor itself gets phosphorylated. It is called autophosphorylation on the tyrosine residues. And this generally follows when a ligand binding leads to the dimerization of the receptors, which is called chimerism, that is the association of two receptors. So the autophosphorylated tyrosine residues then served as a high affinity binding sites for various other intracellular proteins. So some of these proteins are enzymes, including other protein kinases uh, and phospholipases, which may cause the formation of inositol triphosphate IP3, and they may release calcium and allow the control of many other cellular functions. So the mechanisms involving receptor controlled tyrosine kinase phosphorylations plays important roles in control of growth, cell division, differentiation, and intermediary metabolism. And if we talk about the C part of this figure, it is related to guanylate cyclase and CGMP. When the intracellular binding domain in few enzymatic receptors, like here, you can say atrial natriuretic peptide, it is not protein kinases. It is guanylate cyclase enzyme. So ligand binding activates the guanyl cyclate that generates CGMP as the secondary messenger from the GTP. Uh, so increased intracellular CGMP in turn activates CGMP dependent protein kinases and modulates cellular activity. So for most of the effects produced, CGMP seems to be inhibitory in nature. That is, they produces relaxation of vascular smooth muscle. So let us again have a look on this mechanism step by step or in summary. There is an extracellular hormone binding domain. Number two, there is a cytoplasmic enzyme domain, and this enzyme domain may be a protein kinase or it may be an other kinase, for example serine kinase. So a binding of a ligand to an extracellular domain activates or inhibits. And what is activated and what is inhibited? They basically, upon binding of a ligand to the extracellular domain, activates or inhibits the cytoplasmic cytosolic enzyme activity, which is inside, present inside. These kind of receptors exert their regulatory effects by phosphorylation, by phosphorylating diverse effector proteins. It means that they phosphorylated other proteins, which are basically effector proteins at the inner face of the plasma membrane, which are present inside the plasma. So protein phosphorylation can alter the biochemical activities of an effector. Actually, we can say that a ligand can bind extracellularly, then upon binding it will activate protein kinases inside the membrane, and these kinases, which may be a protein kinase or serine kinase, they produces their regulatory effects by phosphorylation of effector protein, and this protein phosphorylation actually produces the or alters the biochemical activities of an effector or its interaction with other proteins. The effect can be produced directly by these biochemical activities of an effector, or they can be produced by interaction of these phosphorylating proteins, their interaction with other proteins. So when, for example, when insulin binds to the extracellular attachment site, for example, insulin is binding with its receptor and it is binding outside the receptor, extracellular attachment site, a tyrosine kinase activity is switched on. Tyrosine kinases will be activated. It means they are switched on at the intracellular portion. And this protein phosphorylation leads to the altered cell function, change in cell function, and this occurs via the assembly of other signal proteins. It means that protein is phosphorylated, and then this phosphorylation of proteins basically produces basically is interacting with other proteins inside the body. So the binding of ligand to the receptor extracellular domain is the first step. Then upon binding with the extracellular domain, the receptor confirms the changes, which we call the receptor conformation changes, and this conformation changes brings together the tyrosine kinases domains inside the cell. Or upon binding of the ligand outside the cell, with the ligand binding site, tyrosine kinases domains are brought closer to each other, and the receptor is converted from its inactive state, which is a monomeric state, to the active state, which is the dimeric state. So it means that when the phosphorylation occurs, tyrosine kinases domains comes close to each other, they will convert from their monomeric state to the dimeric state. It means they are converted from the inactive state to the active state. So the cytoplasmic domain becomes phosphorylated and they act on specific tyrosine residues. Number one, or their enzymatic activities are activated, catalyzing the phosphorylation of substrate proteins. Either they can either in cytoplasmic domain becomes phosphorylated on specific residues, or their enzymatic activities are activated, and those enzymatic activities basically catalyzes the phosphorylation of specific substrate proteins.